So what I would like to do first is quickly go over, give you in a nutshell what ITEA is about, so that you know, at least everyone knows the details of ITEA. Okay, where is ITEA positioned? Well, you don't see ITEA here, but you see all the landscape of research in Europe. On the left side you see the national programs. There's a lot of national programs going on, and on the right side you see, and in the middle, you see the two international funding mechanisms. First of all, we have Eureka, and the second one is the one from the European Commission. ITEA is in fact a sub-program of Eureka, and as it is called, a cluster in Eureka. There is more clusters. ITEA is focusing on software, as it was mentioned already, but there is other clusters as well. So we have on semiconductors, on telecommunications, manufacturing, and also on energy. So these are the clusters in ITEA. What are the differences between these two mechanisms? Well, first of all, the finance. The finance in the European program is always coming from the European Commission. In Eureka, the funding is coming from the member states. What does that mean? That means that if you have, for instance, a project with Dutch partners, with German partners, with Belgian partners, then each of these partners have to go to their own national funding organizations. The other differences, you could say, is, for instance, the research level. As the European Commission program is more focusing on the lower, on the more research-oriented program, while Eureka is more market-oriented. So in terms of TRL, you could say, okay, Eureka is more on the higher TRL levels, and the Commission is more focusing on the lower TRL levels. So in fact, they are complementary to each other. Also, there is a difference in themes. So in the European Commission, you quite often have themes which you have to follow and where you have to obey. In Eureka, it's more open. We are focusing on a domain, for instance, in ITEA, on software innovation, and that's it. So within this domain, you can select your project proposal as you wish. The last difference, you could say, is also the size, the scope of the program. The European Commission is more looking to Europe only, while in Eureka we are really trying to be more global. And as today we see also here participants from Canada, from Turkey, from South Korea. So you see we are expanding also in Eureka quite a lot. Now coming back to the ITEA Call 2023. We are here for every year to open a call for new project proposals. We start with this brokerage event, so you're here, so you know that already. And the project proposals should fit in the software domain. There are no further constraints to these topics. Some of the project ideas presented in the PO days, they stem from the customer workshop, as Jean-François already was mentioning. So this year we had, for instance, a customer workshop on smart cities. And that is, you get quite a lot of information from the users from this customer workshop. But we also have these kind of sessions from last year's, and you can find a record from that on the ITEA website. We have a two-stage process. The first part is the project outline, and the second one is the full project proposal. The first one, the PO, the part where we are now starting with, really gives you the what. So what is your project idea? What are your goals? What is the state of the art? What is the innovation you want to create in the project? This is all questions about what, not how you will do it. These POs are positively evaluated. The ones which are positively evaluated are invited for the next stage, and that is the full project proposal. And there we ask you also how you will manage and how you will create your innovation. When you have gone through all these stages, you will finally get your ITEA label. And then the last step for you to come is to go to your public authorities and ask for public funding. This is the process in a nutshell. You could see on the left side you see what you have to do. So first of all you have to make your project outline, then the full project proposal, and go to the national authorities. On the other side we have the ITEA and the public authorities, and they, after the call for projects, we will do the evaluation both from ITEA side, so more from an industrial perspective, and then from the public authorities to evaluate your proposals. I must say that the evaluation from the public authorities are just an indication for you what are your chances for funding. So it's not really an approval for funding. This is the same process for both project outline and full project proposal. This is the schedule which we have to follow. Today and tomorrow there is the PO preparation day. This is the opening of the call 2023. What important for you is the deadline for the POs, and that is 13 November 2023, 5 o'clock CET. So that's a hard deadline. After that you cannot submit your proposal. Then we will do the evaluations, and on the 19th of December there will be the announcement about the POs who have succeeded and will be invited for FPP, and which ones were rejected. Then on the 19th February 2024, so already next year, 5 o'clock is the deadline for the submission of the FPPs, and the 25th of March there is the announcement of the labeling results. Some general rules. ITEA is industry-driven, technically innovative, and focused on business results. This means your projects, you should have really participation from industry in your project. So only having a project with academia is not accepted. It should also show in your project that industry is really committed to this project. So they should have a real participation in your project. It should be technically innovative, so clearly indicate what is the difference compared to the state of the art. And focus on business results. As I mentioned, Eureka and ITEA in particular are focusing on business result market impact. So we are not doing research for research. Eureka, as we are part of, has some rules, some basic rules, and the one which is there is that you should have at least 2 different organizations from two different countries. That means that you cannot have, for instance, 2 companies from which have the same mother company. So it's not allowed to have, for instance, Siemens Belgium and Siemens Germany participating in one project. Only, sorry, to be clear. So they can participate in the project, but at least they should, then there should be more partners. Also, these partners should be from one member country and another member country, or a Eureka associated country. This is maybe a bit difficult to explain to you now. I don't want to do that. If you're interested to do that, you can come to us afterwards or look at the website of Eureka and see what are the Eureka associated countries. The project leader must be from an organization established in the member country from Eureka or an associated member. And partners from outside of Eureka network can also participate. So we have examples where, for instance, the US, Egypt, they also participated in projects before. Of course, we don't have a mechanism for them for funding, but yeah, they have to look for that themselves. If you want to know more about these rules, you can look into our document, which is on the website, the rules and regulations of ITEA. Labeling and public funding. ITEA label implies that the ITEA organization recommends the project to be funded by the public authorities, but it's not a guarantee that you will funded. So each partner should apply for funding in their own country. An ITEA label awarded to an ITEA project expires after 10 months. So it's possible that for whatever reason, you're not able to start after your labeling to start your project. At that time, we do not want you to continue forever. So there we will have a stop, and together with the public authorities, we will have a look whether you will be able to continue or not. Rules for national application submission, eligibility criteria and funding possibilities differ per country. So you don't have all the knowledge, but your PAs, they have the knowledge about that. And they might change also over time, these rules. So our recommendation, contact your public authorities also. There was also a session on 4th and 8th of September, and several PAs gave their session there, and the country information session, and this is recorded. So please, if you're interested in what are the criteria for your country, please look at those. We have put them on the website, so you can look back and see what the criteria. Public funding, by the way, is not a prerequisite for a partner to participate in the project. So you can also participate with your own funding or another alternative way of funding. The legal framework of ITEA, I'm not going to detail in everything here, but just to mention that for instance, what you are showing here today is really protected by an NDA. Everyone here has signed an NDA. So we are not allowed to spread your idea everywhere around. Also from the side of the ITEA office and also the bodies, which is the reviewers from the ITEA founding companies, they all signed a non-disclosure agreement. About the FPP and the frame agreement, I will talk later when you are at the stage of the FPP. I will not do that now. Last thing I want to mention to you, how do we finance all this? We are all together here, and that costs money, of course. So ITEA is a non-profit association, and most of the operational costs are paid by the participants of the program via a yearly contribution. So you pay a kind of contribution to your participation in the ITEA program. Each partner pays a yearly contribution fee by means of an annual fixed percentage, and this is 1.5% in 2023, but the years before it was more or less stable, and it's stable. This percentage is each year defined by the ITEA board. And this is a fee which is 1.5% of the planned project cost, which is defined in your national funding contract. So as long as you don't have a funding contract with your public authorities, we won't charge you this fee. Maybe also to mention clearly here, because we get these questions quite often, is that this is really a fee for participation in ITEA and not for getting your funding. So that's quite a subtle difference. If you have subcontractors, and their contribution are considered as a part of their main contractors. So we don't see the effect in ITEA. This was in a nutshell some overview of the ITEA program. If you have any further questions about ITEA, we can happily inform you about that. We are walking around here all day, so please join us or look at the ITEA website.